Mbula everyone. Mbula everyone. Okay. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous, but trying to set my pace here. So yeah, my name is Lani, and I've been involved in the Oceania community and the Pacific Jazz Remote Sensing community for the past 5 to 8 years. And yes, something I just want to share with you this morning. Does anyone know this hotel? The Hartley Orient. Okay, we have 1, 2, oh yeah. So interesting fact I got to know when I landed here, I think, on Monday. So this is the oldest hotel in the Southern Hemisphere, and it is 190 years old. And yeah, so I'm staying here, and it's fascinating because my presentation will take you back into history and back here to this community. So my presentation will be on open source and community building. We are a community, right? Put your hands up if you are in the Oceania community. So yeah. So, okay, I changed it this morning, but okay. Everyone must be wondering, okay, who is she? So, yeah, I come from a village. If you can see it, it's on that red plot. So my village is Nakailev, and it's in the province of Tailevu. So if you've ever been to Fiji, has anyone here been to Fiji? Yeah, so it's 5 to 10 minutes drive from Nosori Airport. It's on a plain, a delta, and it's near a river. It's far away from the sea, and the source of livelihood in my village is mostly crop farming. But for my family, I come from a great line of seafarers and seamen. And yeah, that is my daughter pulling out sweet yams from our farm. So yeah, as a child, I was a very curious child. And growing up in the village back and forth, so that's me in pink and my sister in white. And that's my grandfather and my late uncle in the other picture. So this is how I got introduced to what we call now geospatial or maps. So when I actually shared this last year, was I went through old maps that my grandfather had. So this is my grandfather from my maternal side, and he is from the Rel province. So his province is near the sea. So I got exposed to, the first time I saw a map, I think, my early years from 3 to 5 years old. Okay, I don't know why this keeps changing. So as a young child, I saw these maps drawn by hands. And I was like really fascinated, like, oh wow. Because usually what I can see from where I was standing, so we lived on top of a hill, and you could actually see this group of islands. But when I saw it on a map, I was like, oh, so this is how you see it from a bird's eye point of view. So this grew my curiosity, and from primary school, we have an atlas, so this was like one of my favorite books. This drew my interest, especially in maps, and also, like, I was just curious about, like, how do people come up with this? Moving on, so I'm going to tell you a story, because this is what we do. Pacific Islanders, we are smart, not smart, but yeah, this is a way of talking about our history. So in 2022, I think during COVID-19, there was we had a lot of time in our hand. So what myself and a few cousins, we've decided to trace back our roots, like we wanted to know, since I was a very curious child. So tracing back my roots, so we got into this research mode, and we had online sessions with families, so we wanted to find out like which, trace back our ancestors and see which, to find more about myself. So when we traced our bloodline back, so I come from a bloodline of missionaries. So this was during the 1800s when we were we were still under British. So there was like a group of people that were asked to volunteer as missionaries, and the first missionary mission was to PNG. So my great-great-grandfather, 5 generations back, was a missionary, and with my great-great-grandmother actually traveled to PNG for missionary work. So yeah, that's us, and a Zoom session tracing back. Don't worry, I have a point for tracing back our family tree to our great-great-grandfather, 5 generations back, to Sakai Nkrumah, who was a missionary that actually traveled to PNG and actually died there. He actually died in the year 1875. So when he died, my great-great-grandmother, which is the bloodline I come from, had to travel back to Fiji. So his husband had died, and there was no one to provide for the kids, so they had to travel back from PNG to Fiji. But during that time, I'm not actually sure how they had traveled back, but going on to that, 5 years back, one of my cousins attended university and was an Australian scholar with another PNG student. So for us, especially in the Fijian tradition, a name is something that will carry, especially it carries value and identity, name being passed down. So this name has been used on some of my cousins. And these PNG girls told my cousin, hey, your name sounds familiar. Who is your great-great-grandfather? Because this name is actually common, and it's a name that is actually common in my province, from where she comes from in PNG. And so then my cousin told her, I come from, this name is from my great-great-grandfather, 5 generations back, Sakai Nkrumah. And by this, so this PNG girl told my cousin, guess what? This is interesting, because stories that have been told to me by my grandfather, told to them by their great-great-grandfather, that there was like a missionary from Fiji. And the wife had to travel back to Fiji when he died, but he is buried in PNG. But they had no idea if this lady and the 2 kids actually arrived in Fiji. So they were happy, so she called home in PNG and actually informed them, guess what? I've met a descendant of the Sakai Nkrumah, and that is the bloodline I come from. So my grandmother, our Moana, so she traveled or sailed or navigated rough seas she traveled over 2,000 miles from PNG to Fiji. And I think that's where my passion comes from. It comes from within. My love for maps, navigation, and being a curious child, I've always wondered, how come we live in the Delta, beside the river? Why do we have a family full of seafarers, sailors, navigators? I think this was the answer we were looking for. So that's about me. Moving on. Sorry. So moving on to my community. So for the past 5 to 8 years, I've been involved a lot, especially in the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Council. So this is a council where we actually work on hosting events annually for the past, I think, more than 21 years. So we've been hosting conferences for Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing users. And I've been grateful and been mentored by our local Oceania members, and from 2022 till to date. And I've also been organizing for the past 7 years conference committee for the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Council, and also a member of the Fiji GIS RS user. So for a community, yes, I think it takes a village. Don't you agree? Yes, because this work is not only meant for one person, it's meant for a village, for this community. And I'm going to firstly talk about the Pacific GIS Remote Sensing Council before I move on to OSM Fiji. Yeah, so basically, so the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Council objective, so a main objective is actually to promote and the development of GIS and remote sensing, especially in the Pacific. Enable collaboration, and we've collaborated well with the Oceania community, and we've also is to actually discuss and establish methods in building adaptation in the Pacific, especially in the era of climate change we currently face, and also to manage and distribute publications, and also to establish robust links to other GIS and remote sensing and scientific bodies, regionally and globally. So our structure, yes, we have 4 trustees, 1 chair, that's the board of our directors, and we have 18 in-country focal points. So this is the community that backs up the PGRSC. Okay, going on into our membership. So we have 238 individual members that are registered under the PGRSC membership. So we have quarter of them are students and 3/4 of them are professionals like yourselves. And our top 5 countries that are registered under PGRSC is Fiji, Vanuatu, Australia, New Zealand, and USA. And it's still a growing community. This stats is kind of outdated, but yeah. Since 2023, so we had more than a rise of 62% in membership. And so 76 of that was individual members, and 30% was student members. So for our institutional members, we also have institution members. So last I checked, it's not 26, it's probably 28 or 29. So we have members from government from all over the country. We have Australia, Fiji, and other Pacific Island countries who are member to PGRSC. Also international organizations, research institute, university, and also the private sector. And for recently, we've just, one of our members is NASA and NOAA that just signed recently as one of the PGRSC members, and also will be present this year for our conference. So our focal point network, so we have a big focal point network. So we have a focal point from Cook Islands, FSM, Fiji, French Polynesia, Guam, Kiribati, Nauru, New Caledonia, Niue, Northern Mariana Islands, Marshall Islands, and also Palau, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, Solomon Islands, Tokelau, Tonga, Tuvalu, Vanuatu, and Wallis and Futuna. So for community, the most important thing is the vehicle for information sharing. So for us, for the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Council, we have a very, very old, more than 20 years PGRSC newsletter. So this newsletter contains small abstracts of methodology and just write-up of people who have done work in the Pacific. So you can check this on our website. We have newsletter dating back to the 1900s if you want to know researches that have been done by GIS, through GIS and remote sensing. So it can be found on the PGRSC newsletter. And also we do information papers. And we also have a Slack channel. And we have a big distributing mailing list, which was previously called the GISPACnet. So this has more than 695 users. We've finally restored it last year on Gaggle, so it's still working now. So if you have any question regarding data, regarding some of the things that you want to know regarding the Pacific Islands, this is the best tool to use, the Pacific GIS, GISPACnet. So it's just a mailing list of more than 600 users. And one of our main vehicles for information sharing is the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Conference, which will be end of November. Yes, this is November, on the 25th, which will be held in Suva ICT Center. And I don't know if some of you attended the Pacific Geospatial Conference where we combined with Oceania to host it in, I can't remember that well, but yes, a few years back, I think 2022, yeah. So the conference at a glance for 2023, so without a community and even without sponsors and these companies would haven't been possible. So one of our major sponsors was Esri and the University of the South Pacific, SPC, Digital Earth Pacific, Black Sky, the Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, Oceania, Waterphone, Fiji Election, and UN SPIDER. So 2023 conference at a glance, so we had more than 200 participants from 16 Pacific Island countries and 6 international countries, so majority were Fijians. Yeah, we're from Fiji. Sorry. Oh, I didn't know that I could look down here. So, yeah. So a majority of our attendees were from Fiji, New Zealand, Vanuatu, Australia, Marshall Islands, in PNG, and other international countries. So for last year, we had a total of 64 presentations, 5 workshops, 1 women's session, and we had social events, and we had the most attended cover session in the history of PGRSC. And for this year, this is our committee for the conference this year, which I'm leading and coordinating for this year's conference. And also we are doing an expression of interest for organization or country who wish to host the 2025 Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing User Conference. And these can all be found in our website. Just type Pacific GIS, Remote Sensing, yeah. So if you haven't registered or if you're interested, let me know or check out the website. So we have, 19 days, 21 hours, 10 minutes, 25 seconds last night to actually register for this conference. Yes, going on to the best part, OSM Fiji. So this is my second, no, I wouldn't say second. They are both equal in my eyes because I love them dearly. So OSM Fiji, the journey of, our journey on OSM Fiji. Oh, yeah. So when we started off, we wanted to actually bridge the divide and the gaps through partnership and the community, which comes back, to having a community. So what we actually started off was, how do we, like when you start something, you have to have your why, right? So most of the reason we actually started off was actually to see the gaps. And one of the gaps we found out was that was the disaster, data on disaster. If you guys do not know that back in oh my God, my brain is still old this morning. So we had Cyclone Winston. It was the most strongest, I think, cyclone in the Southern Hemisphere, which is Category 5. And we had a loss of 1.9 billion Fijian dollars. And also Cyclone Harold, we actually had a loss of 40 million USD dollars. So we actually needed to identify the purpose of why we were creating this data. So this was one of the gaps we actually saw that OSM could actually fit in. So from here, we actually, since most of the data sets were outdated, and these provided like a bottleneck, especially assessing these data during disasters and respond for mapping. And so we, as a group, came up and established OSM Fiji with the great leadership of Carol, John, and Emaya. So we actually had to seek out a goal. And it was a volunteer community. So we actually took it, one step at a time, just as the dog was climbing up the steps. So our goal was actually to build a sustainable and active community, especially in Fiji, because we were totally new to this. Getting involved in OpenStreetMap, and especially with that time it was the work that GeoSpaatial does in the region. And also our goal was actually to promote the use of open source software and open source data. I don't know why it keeps changing. And also encourage participation, so within local and wider communities, so in different ages. So we actually wanted this to happen, different gender, racial background, educational background, skill set, whether you have skills or no skills, please come join our community. And also to increase local contribution and the quality of OpenStreetMap. So yes, behind every great work, we have a community. So this was our OSM Fiji community. We had a great team, and our very own guru, John, helping us so much, especially in establishing this. And we had great, Carol and Emaya also, Kamshin, Eileen, and the 2 volunteers. So for OSM initiative and experience and opportunities, so we were fortunate enough to have hot OSM Facebook community impact microgrants. So from this, we actually did a field data update and validation exercise focused on CBD areas in Fiji, especially the Suva city. And also we did online events, facilitated broader participation too, and this included people from outside the Pacific also. So what we found out, especially in creating a new community like ours, with no experience, just like whatever we came with, so it is essential to form partnership so that we ensure that the data remain relevant. So with this, we actually partnered with Peagraphy project of SBC, and we actually hosted 2 OSM Fiji mapathons. So this was utilizing the Pacific Risk Information System, PACRIS. And also with this, we actually did a partnership with HOT, which they developed the Open Mapping Hub Asia Pacific. Oh, okay, 5 minutes. And so we had map and chat hours and whole of Fiji Mapathon hosted by Open Mapping Asia Pacific. And yes, so our engagement, so this is roughly our stats. We had the task of 10 tasks. Building mapped was 68,885. Roads was around 59 kilometers. And total map added was like 69,724. And OSM Fiji long term. So we want to increase uptake of OSM data, especially diversifying OSM data, including land use, road network, street, object, disability access, and also more diversification of trainings and workshop and partnership across the region. And also, the main thing, sustained contribution and the community. Okay, 5 minutes. What makes a good community? This is my point of view, but based on my 5 to 8 years of experience. So yeah, a good community fosters a sense of belonging, support, and mutual respect amongst its members. So yeah, common goals and values. You can see it. So this was last year in Auckland, and this was last year in the Pacific GIS and Remote Sensing Conference. So this helped create a community because it's creating a vision, a common vision, and a common goal. So a good community has inclusivity and diversity, so it welcomes people from diverse backgrounds, ensures that everyone feels included and valued, just like the first time I attended Phosphor-G and met the Phosphor-G Oceania team. And strong social connection, so building strong relationship among members is crucial. So this includes regular interaction, social events, and opportunities for members to connect. That's why Poppy GRSE, we have a lot of social events. And yeah, civic engagement. So this is encouraging members to participate in community activities, decision-making process that actually helps foster a sense of ownership and responsibility. And support system, yes, we have a great support system. And either you contribute in a formal service or informal network to actually strengthen our community bond. And opportunities for growth, which is really important as a community to help members grow and thrive within the community. And I've actually experienced this and testament to this, especially in this community. Okay. And yeah, and lastly, celebration of heritage and tradition. I think this is important, especially recognizing and celebrating communities' heritage, tradition, and of individual to enhance a sense of identity and continuity in this community. And yes, community is strength. If you wish to connect with me, sorry. So, Vinakavalevo, I think that's the end of my presentation because Alex keeps looking at me. So if you want to connect with me, that's my email, or please talk to me over coffee. Thank you, and Vinakavalevo.